first thing I would like to ask you, is your capacity of your brain okay? Because we learn so many things.
Yes.
You are okay, right? You can still learn and keep saving it, right? Okay. Today, now the title of the lecture is The Genealogy from Adam to Noah. May I ask, how many of you have heard or attend Pastor Phillips or the other History of Nation seminar before? So about 30% or more than that may have heard of it before. So this is about Genesis chapter 5 Genesis chapter 5 genealogy. As we learned from Pastor Sam, they start with the book of genealogy, set head to level, right? And then it talks about genealogy from Adam to Noah. So let's draw a chart according to the Bible. The first generation, second, third. Right. The first is named. The first generation is Adam. Second is Seth. Third, Enosh. Fourth, Canaan. Fifth is Mahalalel. Sixth is Jared. Seventh is Enoch. Eighth is Methuselah. Ninth is Lamech. And 10th is Noah. And from Genesis 5, also we can know the age of reproduction. Age of reproduction means when they gave birth to a son, next son, right? Age of reproduction. So Genesis 5 verse 3 says Adam begot Seth when he was 130 years old. 130. And Seth begot Enosh 105. Enosh 90, Canaan 70, Mahalalel 65, Jared 162, and Enoch 65, and Methuselah 187, and Lamech 182. So this is Genesis 5, verse 3, and then 6, right, and then 9. And then 12, and then 15, 18, 21, 24, and 28. So if you look at the Bible, it was says that the age of reproduction. Now, I want to calculate a little bit because the genealogy is supposed to tell us something, right? So let's calculate and find out the birth in Adam's age. Because in those times we don't have any standard. So let's make Adam as a standard. And let's calculate everything according to Adam's age, right? So this time I'll say birth in Adam's age, right? So Adam was born when Adam was 0 years old, right? So Seth was born when Adam was 130, right? And then Enosh was born when, if we combine together, add together, 235, right? Are you following me? Do you know how to calculate? And 230 now, so Canaan is 3, 1, 3, 2, 5, right? And then 3, 9, 5, and then 460, right? Then 2, 2, age when these people were born. When Adam was 130 years old, Seth was born. When Adam was 235 years old, Enosh was born. When Adam was 325 years old, the Canaan was born. That's how what we calculate according to the Bible only. This is the first part of what we're going to talk about. Right. Before we start, people say, some mainly liberal theologians says, man cannot live more than 200 years old, right? The longest people, right? The people who live longest in Japan, perhaps it's about 190 years old or 195. They never seen anyone who live more than 200 years. So the liberal theologians suggest it is actually not 930. Adam actually lived 930 years old. 930. So they say it's not the Adam lived 930 years, but it actually was month. Adam lived 930 months. And if you calculate 930 months in year, it becomes about 77.5. And that makes sense. Oh yeah, people can live about 70, 80 years old, right? So they said, oh, this is not years. This is supposed to be month. It was miswrote or it's misprinted, right? So they suggested it's not years but month. But if you apply that understanding to the age of reproduction, 130 months is about 11 years old. Well, 11 years old may be possible, right? The boy grew quite fast and able to do so, then 11 years old may be possible. But what about here, Mahalalel, 65 years old, 65 months is about 5.5 years. We know that a boy cannot bear a child, cannot make a child when they were 6 years old. So Bible, the whole generation, the whole genealogy here is not actually what the liberal theologians suggest as month. We learned from the first lecture, right? Our fundamental faith and our fundamental view of the Bible is the inerrant 100% word of God. So what is written, we pick. Right? We don't think the other way, right? Oh, this doesn't make sense, so we change it. Oh, this doesn't make sense. Oh, God cannot do this, so we change it. That is not our point. The history of redemption series is written on the fundamental faith that Bible is 100% word of God and it has no error in it. So when God says Adam lived 930 years, then we live. Yes. We cannot understand, maybe. We may not be able to understand. We may not be able to picturize it. Yet we believe, yes, he lived 930 years. So hopefully we start from the same point that we believe the Bible as the inerrant 100% word of God. So let me read for you Genesis 5 verse 3 to 5. Genesis 5 verse 3 to 5 as an example of this calculation. When Adam had lived 130 years, he became the father of sons in his own likeness, according to his image, and named him Seth. Then the days of Adam after he became the father of Seth were 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So this is how we calculate things, and according to Genesis 5. And the first thing that we can take notice, what I'm teaching now is not everything we should learn from it. There are much more. I'm only taking you to the simplest, the fact that we can find from this genealogy. The first thing we can notice is, I will draw your attention to Lamech here. The first fact that we can discover from this genealogy and this calculation, this chart, is Adam, because he lived 930 years, he lived with Seth. That is perhaps okay, because we live with our son, right? He also lived with Enosh. We also live with grandson, right? And then he lived with Canaan, he lived with Mahalalel, he lived with Jared, he lived with Enoch, he lived with Methuselah, and he also lived with this 9th generation Lamech. How many years together? How do we calculate? 930 minus 874. This is the total year Adam lived, and this is when Lamech was born, right? The result is 56, which means Adam and Lamech lived 56 years contemporaneously, which means they lived in the same age, same time. They lived in the same time. In the Bible, when we read it, especially genealogy, especially Genesis, we think Adam as a separate figure, right? And then Enoch as a separate figure. And then Noah as a separate figure. Abraham as a separate figure. Oh, they were all kind of, all of a sudden, by chance, they had a good faith and became the servant of God, or the people who fulfill God's work, right? However, if you look through this genealogy, what we can find is actually Adam had lived with Lamech 56 years contemporaneously, which means Adam could teach Lamech what he had seen or what he has learned. That leads us to the next point. Why then God allow Adam to live such long time? I mean, this is the fact that the Adam and Lamech, 9th generation Lamech, lived 56 years contemporaneously. But what does it mean, and why God allowed Adam to live such long time? Let's go back to, before we think about this question, let's go back to the Garden of Eden. What happened? We learned from Dr. Samuel, right? And we all know about Genesis, right? In the Garden of Eden, God said, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of it, you will surely die, right? And then Adam or Eve, right, listened to the words of Satan, words of the serpent, and they ate it as they disobeyed the word of God. So after they fell, right, God could just kill Adam immediately, right? God already told him, if you are eat of this tree, or eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil, then you will surely die. So God could just kill him immediately. Day after, or on the same day. Oh, you just violated, I will kill you. Right? God could just kill him, but why God allowed Adam to live such long time? 930 years. It is because, we can say it is because God wanted Adam to deliver the word of God to his descendants. In the Garden of Eden, there were no one else, right? Of course, Adam and Eve, but let's say as Adam's family, right? Or the Adam's couple. In the Garden of Eden, there were no one else but Adam. If God killed immediately Adam after the fall, then there would be no people, no one could deliver what had happened, what God said, or the things that happened in the Garden of Eden. The reason why God allowed Adam to live such a long time and allowed him to live with the 9th generation Lamech was for Adam to make Adam to be able to deliver the word of God that he received in the Garden of Eden. And what is so about God? In order to transmit this faith to his descendants, that God allowed Adam to live such a long time. So if that is the conclusion, that is the reason why God allowed Adam to live such a long time, then we should look at the evidence, right? Where is the evidence that Lamech learned from Adam then? Right? Is there any evidence in the Bible that Lamech learned from Adam? Have you thought about it? If that is the reason why God allowed Adam to live such a long time, there must be a reason, there must be evidence that Lamech learned from Adam, right? Or Adam taught Lamech. The evidence is in the Bible. Genesis chapter 5, verse 28 to 29. Genesis chapter 5, verse 28 to 29. Let me read it for you. And Lamech lived 182 years and became the father of a son. Now he called his name Noah, saying, This one shall give us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands arising from the ground, which the Lord has cursed. Can you see it? Can you find the evidence now? Yes. You are very good pastors here, right? When the ground was cursed by the Lord, it happened in the garden of Eden, isn't it? As the result of Adam's fall, the ground was cursed. There were no one, right? Seth was not there, Enosh was not there, Kenan was not there, Mahalalel was not there, Jared was not there, Enoch was not there, Methuselah was not there, and Lamech definitely was not there. But how come that he knew the Lord cursed the ground? That is the evidence that Lamech learned from Adam, and Adam told Lamech what had happened in the Garden of Eden. That is the evidence that we can say that Adam told Lamech about what happened in the Garden of Eden. Not only that, Lamech named his son Noah, right? And he said, Noah shall become the one who gives rest from the work and the toil which was caused because the ground is cursed. In the Bible, the work and the toil is also the result of the fall. Am I right? Am I correct? Let's read Genesis 3 verse 17. Genesis 3 verse 17. I'll read it for you. Then to Adam he said, Because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree about which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Then in toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. So the ground being cursed is a result of the fall, but also in toil, the work of man is also the result of the fall. And Lamech knew exactly and precisely, and he's hoping that Noah would be the one who released them, who delivered them from this toil, which is the result of the fall. And Noah would be the one who, and he said that because the ground is cursed as the result of the fall. So this shows that Lamech knew about what had happened in the garden. If Adam did not teach his descendants about what had happened in the Garden of Eden, then how could Lamech be able to know about the ground being cursed, or the toil was given to them as the result of sin? So after being kicked out from the Garden of Eden, Adam lived to teach his descendants about who God is, and how the unfolding life was like. Right? Adam was the only one who experienced this unfolding life. There, everything was there. Right? The tree of life was there. Tree of knowledge of good and evil. Tree of all kinds of other trees were there. Right? God was there. I conversed with God. Right? I named all the animals and everything. Adam lived rest of his life after being kicked out from the Garden of Eden, trying to teach his descendants about who God is and how the unfolding life was like. He delivered the word of God, and told that the mankind should recover the fall. Mankind should return to God. God told me that do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I mistakenly ate of it, and I am sentenced to the death penalty. My son, my grandson, my children, my offspring, my descendants. Please, I will tell you one thing, right? I will tell you one thing. Do not disobey the word. Isn't it? Don't you think that that would be the main message of Adam every day, right? When he woke up, Seth comes. I will speak it again. Yeah, Jared, come. I will speak it again. This is what happened. Do not disobey the word. No matter what. Now then, trouble is, if Adam taught the word of God that he received in the Garden of Eden to his descendants, right? And if he transmitted his faith to his descendants, like Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, and Methuselah, and Lamech, one question we have in mind is that, did he repent then? Did Adam repent? If he didn't repent, and if he is grudge about God, God kicked me out of Garden of Eden, right? Okay, I'll do whatever God doesn't like, and I will make you feel the same pain, right? That is the heart of the unrepentant heart, right? But so we need to know whether Adam truly repented or not, right? Is there evidence in the Bible that Adam repented? If you read this first book, the Genesis Genealogy, it tells us that there is a hint and there is no direct description, right? Literal description that Adam repented, but there is a hint and clue. The hint we can find is Genesis chapter 3. I think, should we take a break?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. Should we? Tomorrow morning, the first session will be done by me, and there will be a quiz in the beginning of the session. I will give you the question that I will ask, so you can be prepared. That is fair, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, drawing this chart. This is not my chart, this is the chart coming from the Bible, right? So memorize these numbers and memorize this chart will not do any harm to you, right? You are just memorizing the verses and the information of the Bible. So this will be my first piece, writing from the first generation to the 10th generation, and writing the age of reproduction and the birth in Adam's age. And the second P, there will be 2 P's. What shall we do? Shall I call people out and just write on the whiteboard? 2 people? Or whoever volunteer. Because there will be reward for it. I bought the second book, The Covenant of the Torch, new book in English, and I'll give 1 each to the one who got a score. So it's the first one first serve, right? First come first serve. Those who volunteer to write and draw this picture on the whiteboard, and if it's right, then I'll give the reward. The second chart is you will learn from Dr. later, which is the genealogy in Genesis 11. There will be another chart there. So that's the second question. Okay, I already told you. Don't tell me that you didn't know, right? And whoever volunteer first will come out and draw the picture, and if it's right, then I will give you the reward. Good. So shall I continue? Is everyone here?
That reward is sold for $20 in Singapore.
Yeah, I heard it's worth about 2,000 rupees, right? 300 rupees. So it's quite worth it, right? If you try to memorize it. For those who are elderly, I will give you a little bit of grace, okay? Right. So let's go back to this question: did Adam repent? The book, the Genesis Genealogy gives. Genesis chapter 3 verse 20 is the hint and the clue that Adam repented. I will give you the vision first and I will explain. Genesis chapter 3 verse 20. You can see it from the screen. I will read it for you. Now the man called his wife named Eve because she was the mother of all the living. Right? Why naming his wife Eve became an evidence and it became a hint that Adam repented. Let me explain now. What had happened is God said to Adam, "Do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil." And God clearly said the consequences of the disobedience, right? If you disobey me, then death will come to you. Death is the consequence of the sin, and that is the consequence of the fall. That is the consequence of disobedience, right? So if we look at Genesis 3, verse 9 to 15, this is about God's judgment, right? Everything happened already. So God said, "Where are you?" Right? Adam said, "I hid because I'm naked." Right? So God said, "Did you eat from the tree that I commanded you not to eat?" And Adam said, "What? Because the woman that you gave to me, give it to me, so I ate." So God asked the woman, "Why did you eat?" And then the woman said, "Because the serpent deceived me, so I ate it." Right? So God said to the serpent, "You serpent, from today you will crawl on your belly, right? And you will eat dust all the days of your life." Right? So this is the content of the judgment, God's judging. Because God said, if you eat of it, you will die. So God is judging man, Adam, and woman, and serpent. And all of a sudden, Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. Let me read it quickly for you from verse 9. Then the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard the sound of thee in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" And the man said, "The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me from the tree, and I ate it." And I ate. Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you more than all cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly shall you go, and thus shall you eat all the days of your life." Right? This is verse 14. And then verse 15, we heard it, this is the proto-gospel. "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. And he shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on the heel." God was judging Adam, the woman, and the serpent, right? And all of a sudden, right? Genesis 3 verse 15 comes up, and he said, God said, "But the seed of the woman will bruise you," right? Bruise the seed of the serpent on the head. Right? The seed of the woman will crush the seed of the serpent on the head. This is called proto-gospel. Proto-gospel means it's the first time that the promise of God regarding the salvation of mankind is proclaimed. God says, God was judging Adam, Eve, and serpent, and then all of a sudden he said, "But the seed of the woman will come, and he will destroy the head of the serpent." And after that, verse 20, right? After that, verse 20, Adam named his wife Eve. Note that until that time, the woman didn't even have a name, right? The Bible referred to her the woman, right? And then Adam, after all this happened, Adam named her Eve, and it means the mother of all the living. Why naming his wife Eve, the mother of all the living, is the evidence of him being repented, Adam being repented, is after the fall, right? From the beginning of God's judgment, the word became word full of death. Right? God already proclaimed, God already announced that the consequences of your disobedience will be death. So because Adam disobeyed it, right? Disobeyed the word of God. Now Adam is full of death. Right? Eve is full of death. The world itself is full of death. There is no hope for life at all. Can you see? Can you see the condition of the world, condition of the Adam? God said you will die. Death will come to you. So Adam will die. The Eve will die. Everyone will encounter death. So it's the world full of death. Yet, all of a sudden, in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, God said, but the seed of the woman will come and he will crush the head of the serpent. Adam now believed it. What is the sin of Adam? What is the sin of Adam? Let's remind us. That's what is the sin of Adam. It's not that Adam didn't hear the word of God. God already told Adam that do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So Adam heard the word of God, right? But there is another word of the serpent came, right? So Adam heard let's say Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve heard the word of God, and then the woman heard the word of Satan. They act according to the word of the serpent, means even though they heard the word of God, what did they believe more? Thank you. They believed word of the serpent more. Oh, if we eat of it, we will become like God. That's what they believed more. That is the definition of Adam's sin, right? Adam's sin is not because he didn't hear the word of God. He heard it, yet he didn't believe it. Now, Genesis 13 verse 15, Genesis 3 verse 15, it says, the seed of the woman will come and crush the head of the serpent. Now, Adam believed it. I am in the dismal condition that is full of death. I disobeyed God. So now my life is full of death. All mankind's life is full of death. This world is full of death. Yet, I believe what God said in Genesis 3 verse 15. The seed of the woman will come and crush the head of the serpent. He will revenge the serpent and he will restore us. Adam believed so much that reality hasn't changed, right? Reality is still the sentence of death is upon Adam, right? And upon all the world. Yet Adam named his wife, you are the living, you are life. Can you see the difference? Previously, Adam heard the word of God, the word of Satan, and he acted according to the word of Satan, right? Now he heard the word of God once again. He heard this total gospel, the good news of salvation, and he acted according to it. My wife, you, from now on, you shall be called the mother of all the living. Through you, the living will come out, the life will come out. Amen. Amen. That is the evidence that Adam acted according to the word of God. If Adam's sin was not acting according to the word of God, then what is the evidence of his repentance? He acted according to the word of God. He named his wife, you are living. Through you, life. That is why Genesis chapter 3 verse 20 becomes evidence that Adam repented. And Adam lived and acted according to the word of God. He once disobeyed, and he knew the consequences. And perhaps he felt so terrible. Wow! What have I done? Right? And then when God said, when God proclaimed this proto-gospel, he received it and took it, and said, my wife, you will be the mother of all. Through you, the life will come. That is the evidence, the Adam. Of course, the simpler evidences can be found in Genesis chapter 4 verse 1 and chapter 4 verse 25. When Adam begot Cain, he confessed that I have gotten a man-child with the help of the Lord God, isn't it? Of the Lord God. So means that he is considering his child was given by God. If he did not repent, then he would not confess that this son was given by God. If he did not repent, he said, I made it. Right? I had slept with my wife, and this is a result of my last night. Right? But he said, this is given by God. Also, when he was given Seth, right? Seth, in Genesis 4 verse 25, Adam confessed that God has appointed me another offspring in place of Abel. So that is also a simpler evidence we can find that Adam repented and tried to live and tried to respect, tried to honor God in his life. So, yes, I think we can now jump on now. Okay. So since Adam repented and believed the word of God regarding to the seed of the woman, right? That is the only hope. The word became full of death. He himself became full of death. But the promise of the seed of the woman is the only hope that he had. And since he realized and since he believed and repented, the duty of Adam was that he taught his descendants about what he saw in the Garden of Eden and what he heard in the Garden of Eden, and what he did wrong in the Garden of Eden, and what they should do when God orders something to them. If I repeat myself, obey the word of God no matter what. Right? No matter how unreasonable it may sound, just obey the word of God fully. Right? No matter how other advices, right? Other serpent comes and gives you advice, do not listen to any other word, but just listen to the word of God and obey the word. So we can see that Adam should have lived his life teaching his descendants about obey the word of God, obey the word of God, obey the word of God, day after day, right? Day after day. Then let's finally, in this session, look at the evidence. We saw that Adam taught Lamech, right? Because Lamech was aware of what had happened in the Garden of Eden. Is there any evidence that the faith of Adam was transmitted to Noah? The faith of Adam was transmitted to Noah. The repented faith of Adam transmitted to Noah. There is. Of course, if you can see it, Adam died 930 years old, and Noah was born when Adam lived when Adam was 1056 years old, which means they didn't live together, right? Adam died before Noah was born, so there was no chances that Adam could physically taught Noah. But then the faith of Adam that he tried to convey to his descendants, right, was come to Noah as well. About Noah, Dr. Yaowan will teach in detail. So I will just briefly mention Genesis 6 verse 20. So Genesis 6 verse 21 to 22. Genesis 6 verse 21 to 22. You may follow on the screen. I will read it for you. And as for you, paint for yourself some of all food which is edible, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be full food for you for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God had commanded him, so he did. Can you see? Noah believed the word of God, and he did according to what God commanded. All the Bible says all the things that God had commanded. What God had commanded Noah? Build the ark, right? That was probably very unrealistic and very unreasonable order from God, right? Yet Noah obeyed it, and Noah did everything according to what God said. Do you think is a coincidence that what Adam could have taught is the same as what Noah had done? Adam could have taught his descendants that obey the word of God, isn't it? No matter how unrealistic, no matter how unreasonable it may sound, just obey. Obey the word of God, right? And Noah did what? He obeyed the word of God fully. All the things that God had commanded, Noah did. Not only one time, but 2 times the Bible confirms Noah did everything according to what God had commanded. Where is strong faith? Where is this super faith comes from? Is it because Noah all of a sudden became a good believer? No. From the time the faith was transmitted to generation after generation. Noah couldn't meet Adam because Adam died before the birth of Noah. However, faith of Adam was transmitted to Adam. The faith of Adam was transmitted to Adam's descendants, including Lamech. And then Lamech transmitted the faith to Noah. So Noah was able to obey the word of God fully. So I pray that all the pastors and all the people here believe the word of God more than advices of this world. Believe the word of God more than the word of the serpent. You know that the serpent in the Garden of Eden was Satan. Right? Revelation chapter 12 verse 9 and Revelation chapter 20 verse 2 says that the great dragon, the serpent of old, who was also called Satan and the devil. Serpent of old. Serpent that exists long time ago. When? In the Garden of Eden. The great dragon, the serpent, was Satan. So I pray that may all the pastors and all the people here believe the word of God more than the advices of this world, and believe the word of God more than the words of the serpent, words of the Satan. So that we all may become God's faithful servants who do all that God commands you, no matter what. And I also pray that may you transmit your faith, this faith, repentant faith, right, to your family, to your children, and to your congregations, so that may your village, may your church be filled with the people who truly believe in God. Amen. Thank you. That will conclude my first session, but because I haven't got enough time, so I will continue the second session now. Yes. What time should I finish?
That's it.
Sorry, what time should I finish?
1:15.
15. Okay, so I got about half an hour. I hope that is enough. Yes. Now, from the Genesis 5, this is not only the chart, this is not only the information we can get, or we can make it into chart, but there is a next part of it, which I will not quiz you tomorrow, okay? This is not part of your quiz, because it's a bit more. So I will not ask you, I will only ask you a simple question, simple information that you can remember. the second part is the age of death. Age of death. And death in Adam's age. Because Adam, we took Adam as a standard, right? So, firstly, age of each generation, each patriarch. Age of death of each patriarch, and their death in Adam's age, right? Or in Adam's year. So Genesis 5 verse 5 says Adam lived 930 years and died, right? And then so on, we can find 912, 905, and 910, 895, and the Jared was 6. Jared was, let me check. Is the 962, sorry. Then Enoch will be almost 6. Then Methuselah 969. And final Lamech was 777. It's not in 900. Can you see it? Right? This is also, you can find this information from Genesis 5. Verse 5, verse 8, verse 11, 14, and so on. You can find this information from Genesis 5 as well. Now, let's calculate death in Adam's age. Right? How do we calculate? For Adam, it's easy. Right? 930, he died. For Seth, we calculate when he was born, right? And then when he died. So if we add this number 2, add this 2 number up, then it becomes the death in Adam's age, which is 1042. Are you following me? So how to calculate the death in Adam's age? This is birth in Adam's age, so when they were born, right? And then how long they live, if we add together, then it becomes when they die in Adam's age. Anyway, this chart is in the book number 1, and this information is in Genesis 5. So you can go and have a look and calculate by yourself, then you will come up with the same result. 10 or 2. To speed up, I will just write it according to it. Next one is 1140, and then 1235, then 1290, 1422, 987, 1656, 1655. This is the second part part of the information that we can find from Genesis chapter 5, genealogy. Here, where should we look at? As I said, what I'm teaching, what I'm sharing is not only information that you can learn from it. There are much more. I'm only telling you the simplest one, right? The easiest one. Now, I want us to look at here. What does it tell? What does it mean? What this number tells us? It tells us among 10 patriarchs, among 10 the first 10 ancestors, patriarchs, the first one who disappeared from the earth was Adam. Because his life finished early, right? It's all according to Adam. The standard is Adam. So Adam disappeared from the earth as a first figure, first man. You may say, oh, that's normal, right? Because Adam was the first generation, he shouldn't go first, right? However, who is the second person who disappeared from the earth? Adam. It's not Seth, it's not Enosh, it's not Elkanah, but it was Enoch. It was Enoch. How did Adam disappear from the earth? By what result? By death. Right? The Bible says, Genesis chapter 5 verse 5, he died. Right? He died. So Adam disappeared from the earth by death. He died. What about Enoch? How did he disappear from the earth? Genesis chapter 5 verse 23 to 24. Genesis 5 verse 23 to 24. You may follow on the screen. I will read it for you. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. When I taught this in the UK, one of the congregation came to me and said, "How are we sure? I mean, how are we sure that Enoch didn't die, but was taken by God alive?" First Adam was gone by death. But the second person who disappeared from the earth, Enoch, not by death, but alive. This is called transfiguration. Genesis chapter 5 verse, as we read, Genesis chapter 5 verse 24 says, Enoch walked with God, and he was not. Means he was not there anymore, right? Because God took him. Because God took him. And this UK, the congregation from UK, asked me that in the UK culture, if someone, we say, last night my dad was taken by God, that means what? My dad passed away. That's a gentle way of saying or announcing the death of someone, right? God took someone last night. So how are we sure that Enoch didn't die, but moved to heaven alive? The first clue we can find from the Bible is this expression, Enoch walked with God and he was not, for God took him, right? If this is the general or gentle expression of announcing someone's death, this expression was not used for any other patriarchs. There were 10 people, right? But this exact expression was not used for any other, but only for Enoch. Which means Enoch's end was different from the other patriarchs. The Bible says Adam died, Seth died, Enosh died, Canaan died, Mahalalel died, Jared died, but Enoch died. And then Methuselah died, Lamech died. Right? So that expression is used only for Enoch. It signifies that the end of Enoch was different from other 9 patriarchs. Right? Second clue is the Hebrew word. When the Bible says, for God took him, the to take, Hebrew word for to take is lakach. You're very good at Hebrew. I saw it. So I'm a bit nervous, right? Right? But this lakach is used also when God took Elijah. How did Elijah was taken? Did he die? No. He was alive and he was taken by the whirlwind, right? Let's go and read 2 Kings or 2 Kings 2 verse 10 to 11. 2 Kings 2 verse 10 to 11. And he said, you have asked a hard thing. from you, it shall be so for you, but if not, it shall not be so. And it came about as they were going along and talking, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, which separate the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind to heaven. Here, when I'm taken from you, this word is Lanka, right? Lanka. And this taken from you, what means and signifies the Elijah's taken, right? Elijah being taken by this chariot of fire and horses of fire and by whirlwind. So this Lanka also means being taken alive. Being taken alive. Not through death, but alive. And the third clue, but is the most definite clue. The third clue, but is the most definite clue, can be found in Hebrew chapter 11 verse 5. Hebrew 11 verse 5. This is very important. Right? Hebrews 11 verse 5. By faith, Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death. But he was not found because God took him up, for he obtained the witness that before his being taken up, he was pleasing. See, the author of Hebrews said, Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death. He was taken up to heaven, but it's not to going through death. He didn't die, he didn't see death, but he was taken up to heaven. In the Bible, that is called transfiguration. That is transfiguration. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 50 to 54. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses from 50 to 54. I'll read it for you. Now I say this, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, nor does the perishable inherit the imperishable. Behold, I tell you a mystery, I tell you a secret. Right? We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Right? We shall not all sleep. There will be some who will sleep. Sleep here means die, right? But we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable. Dead being raised imperishable is, we said, is the resurrection. Right? When the Lord comes again, when the last trumpet sounds, the resurrection of the dead will happen. We all believe that, right? And then Apostle Paul continued to say what? And we shall be changed. We refer to those who did not die, who were alive. Isn't it? The dead will be raised imperishable, which means resurrection will be there. But we, those who are alive, shall be changed. Transfiguration will also be there. When He comes again, when the Lord comes again, when the last trumpet sounds, He will resurrect those who believe and die, right? But what about those who believe and live? Will He kill us? Okay, it's the time. You all die now, and I will resurrect you again. Is it? No. The Bible says, those who are already dead, I will resurrect them. I will give them a life, right? But those who are alive, you don't have to go through death. Death is a result of sin. Right? When the Lord comes again, when the last trumpet sounds, it's the end of everything, right? So we don't have to go through death. The Apostle Paul said, we will be changed. We will not see death, but we will change. That is transfiguration. So Enoch disappeared from the earth, not through death, but by transfiguration. Can you see that? Can you understand that? Why? I mean, why this is important? Adam being disappeared by death, and Enoch being disappeared by transfiguration. Why it is important?
It's a need for Jesus.
Thank you. Yeah, that is correct. But also, it gives a hint. It's a confirmation of what Adam preached. Adam preached what? Hey, in the Garden of Eden there was an unfallen world, right? There we all live. We 2, isn't it? When God said, if you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you will surely die. You shall surely die. That is the first time the Bible mentioned about death. Right? But what if Adam didn't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? What will happen? He lives. He does not die. He does not die. He lives. He lives. He lives. He lives. He lives. He lives eternally. Right? Mankind was in unfallen situation. Right? Mankind was created to live eternally. Mankind was created not to see death. Death is only the result of sin. And that is what Adam did preach for 913 years to his descendants. If you believe, if you obey, you will not die, you will not see death. I have to die because I already disobeyed, and God already proclaimed upon me death as a result. So I will die. But if you believe, you will not die. Adam died at his age of 930. And then 8 patriarchs were witness of the death of Adam. Right? Oh, Adam died. What should we do? What if what he said is wrong? What if what he preached is wrong? What if there is no eternal life? Right? What if whatever he described about this unfallen situation, unfallen world in the Garden of Eden was all fake and all lie? God took Enoch and God confirmed what Adam preached was correct. Adam was gone by death. Enoch was gone by death. God showed them, God gave them evidence and the confirmation. This will happen if you obey me. If you are with me all the time, this going to heaven without saying that will happen to you. That is why it is important. This is what we believe, isn't it? This is what we believe as a Christian. We believe that of course, we will resurrect, right? But one day death will lose its power. We will be liberated from the power of death, right? When the Lord comes again, we don't have to die to resurrect, right? This simply shows that what Adam preached and what the Bible tells us is true and is correct. That is what we can learn from the numbers that is written, a number that is counted from genealogy, Genesis 5 genealogy. Dr. Samuel said, genealogy is like a zip file, right? When you unzip it, there are much more story comes out. It was just a number, 130, 105, 90, 70, 65. It was boring, right? We just pass it through, right? However, when we calculate and make a chart and study about it, we learn that Adam and Lamech lived contemporaneously 56 years together. And it was a 930, 912, 995, 910. It was just a number. But when we study, we learn that Adam was the first one being taken from the earth. And then second one was the Enoch. Enoch this time was gone at night. God took him to confirm, to make us assured, right, that there is eternal life. The life that we don't have to see that. Oh, yes. So in the Bible, what is the reason? What is the key fact? What is the key fact that Enoch walked with God? What is the key fact that Enoch walked with? Key solution, right? Genesis chapter 5, verse 24. Genesis 5, verse 24, it says, Enoch walked with God. Enoch walked with God. Hebrew word for to walk is halak. 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 To walk is halak. This is to walk. But Genesis 5 verse 24, when Bible says Enoch walked with God, is reflexive form. Reflexive form is used. So it's it halek. It halek. It halek. Italic. So to walk is I'm walking, right? What is a reflection form of to walk? What does italic mean? Italic means I make myself to walk. Correct? Reflection form is that I make myself do something, right? Halak was I walk, right? I walk with God. I walk, right? But italic means I make myself to walk with the Son. Enoch walked with God. How he made himself to walk with God. Enoch must have the places that he wanted to go, right? Where is the famous restaurant, right? We want to go there tonight, right? Enoch must have the countries that he wanna go and travel, the places that he wanna go for holidays, right? Yet Enoch made himself to walk with God. If God doesn't go, then he made himself be with God. That is what italic means. How to walk with God. It's not, from today I will walk with God. It's not like that. We have to make ourselves to be with God. That is the italic means to walk with God. That was the key. And the reason why the Enoch did not see that, but was transformed. He made himself to be with God, to walk with God. If God goes faster, he goes faster. Right? There may be days that he want to rest. Oh God, I don't want to go today. It's too tired. We came about what? Thank you. 2 a.m. in Malaysian time. That was about 4 a.m. Right? We went the check-in to the hotel, and we really didn't want to get up this morning. Right? I mean, Enoch could have the day that he wanted to go. God, today is the day I really don't want to go, and I really don't want to work. Right? But if God moves, then he forces himself to follow. That is italic. Okay, God is going, so I have to go, right? Enoch lived that life. Enoch lived such a life, and he was able to walk with God, and he was transfigured without seeing that. So today I pray, may all the pastors and all the people here make yourself to walk with God by obeying His commandments, so that like Enoch, you may not see that, but receive the blessing of eternal life. Amen. The last part, I think I can finish in 10 minutes, so I'll do it. I got 10 minutes, right? Or 5 minutes actually, right? I got 5 minutes. Right. This is actually important part, so I shall do it quickly. So, Enoch walked with God. What is the key point? What is the key solution to walk with God? Italic means by forcing him, by making him to walk with God. But in the Bible, we can find the answers how to walk with God. The first is Enoch had end time conscience. This is very important, so in 5 minutes I will explain. Genesis 5 verse 22 says, then Enoch walked with God 300 years after he became the father of Methuselah, and he had other sons and daughters. Right? Am I right? Genesis 5 verse 22, it says, Enoch walked with God 300 years only. He lived 365 years, right? But then, first 65 years, he didn't walk with God. Only from when he had Methuselah, his son. Methuselah was born when Enoch was 65 years old here, right? So the rest, 300 years, yes, he walked with God, but first 65 years, he didn't walk with God. And what is so important? What's the meaning of this Methuselah is being born to Enoch? Right? Why that changed? Methuselah in Hebrew, okay, Methuselah. Okay, Methuselah. Yeah. Oh yeah, you know that. Oh, that is the bell, isn't it? Right. Can I have a 2 minutes, please?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. I want to write because you open Methuselah. Methuselah can be understood in two ways, right? First is the combination of the mat and shalach. Mat means man, shalach means a spear. So it's translated as a man of spear. And the second way of understanding is mut and shalach. Mut means death, and shalach means to send. So if he dies, the end will be sent. End will be sent. Right? So combining this together, Methuselah means if he dies, end will come. If he dies, an end will come. According to the narrative, what happened is that in each village there is a god or man who holding this spear, right, protecting this village. And if this man is dead, then whole village will be invaded and trampled by the enemies, right? So if a man who holds the spear dies, an end will come. That is the meaning of Methuselah. And when Enoch had named his son Methuselah, it's the same meaning. If he dies, an end will come. Right? So after giving birth to Methuselah, Methuselah was growing, right? And then she got flu so severely, he couldn't get up for several days. What would be the first thing that Enoch thought about? Is it the day? Isn't it? Is an end coming today? Isn't it? If he dies, an end will come. That is the meaning of his name. So if he hurt himself, if he wounded himself, or if Methuselah couldn't get up for several days, the first thing that comes into his mind is it the day of an end? A day of an end, right? End time conscience. Enoch lived with this end time conscience. If tomorrow is the last day in your life, right, or last day of this whole world, will you sin tonight? Will you go against God tonight? If tomorrow morning everything will be end and God will calculate, oh, the Sri Lanka, the Lanka, you did so well, right? Will you go out tonight and do something against God? Right? No, isn't it? Same. Enoch lived the end time conscience, which means, oh, what if tomorrow I cannot sin against God? Oh, what if tomorrow I cannot sin? What if tonight I cannot sin against God? That's why after being given birth to Methuselah, Enoch started walking with God. I cannot disobey. I cannot come far away from God. That was the first reason why Enoch could walk with God, the end time conscience. What is amazing is when Methuselah died, the flood happened, isn't it? We all know that. How do you calculate? From Methuselah's life, 187, he gave birth to Lamech, right? Lamech, 182, he gave birth to Noah. And in what year, what age of Noah the flood happened? Yes, we all know that, right? 600. So if you add this number, it becomes 969. Which means, when Methuselah became 969, the flood happened. When he died when he was 969. When he dies, an end came. Isn't it? When Methuselah died, an end came. It really came. Last Genesis 5, chapter 5, verse 22, the last piece of the message. I'll read one more time. Enoch walked with God 300 years after he became the father of Methuselah, and he had other sons and daughters. This is important. Pastors, when you think about walking with God, living with God, what do you normally think? We think about going to monastery, right? We think about going up to mountain, remote place. There is no one who seduces me or tempts me, right? However, the Bible said Enoch walked with God while he was having other sons and daughters. In order to have other sons and daughters, you have to do what? You have to love your wife, right? Without loving your wife, no sons and daughters can come out, right? Which means Enoch had slept with his wife. When the baby comes out, what will you say? Because I'm pastor, you wife, you have to take care of all the housework, you have to grow your children, right? You have to earn money from outside. I will go into the remote place in my room and I'll pray and read the Bible all the time. Will you do that? No. We have to go and go out to field, right? For Enoch's case, and get something to eat, right? Food to eat. You have to, when the baby cries out at night, you have to wake up and change the what? Thank you, right? You have to do all these things. The Bible is telling us Enoch didn't go to remote place to work with God, but Enoch had his ordinary life, everyday ordinary life. He loves with his wife, right? And he grew his children. He went out to the world business to earn money. Yet he was able to walk. This makes Enoch so great. Wow, how can he was able to? But on the other hand, it gives us hope because we have a business, right? Maybe you hold up the full paid pastor, but anyway, we have a business. We have children to take care of. We have a wife. We have a house. We have families, right? In all these situations, the Bible is saying that don't worry, you can still walk with us. Amen. Amen. I think that will conclude my second session. So do not worry, the pastors and the people. God is giving us hope. If we obey, if we have a heart to obey the word of God, in everyday ordinary life, right, we still may be able to walk with God by His grace. Let's conclude with prayer.